Ram. Um, I offer my prayerful salutations at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. I'll actually start with uh, before my college days. How did I come to come to Sai Fold and my experiences as well. Um, I just wanted to start with saying this thing that Swami says ways of the Lord are mysterious. Says in Telugu, Chitrambulu, Trailokya Pavitramulu, Vichitrambulu, he says. His ways are really mysterious, really weird in a sense, bizarre, whatever you might describe. How he, brings us into his fold. In my case, it has been completely that way. Yes, as mentioned earlier, my sister, our family has been a Sai family from our great grandmother's times. My great grandmother used to say, she's no more. No, grandmother used to say about great grandmother that it was those times when Swami used to, talk to them every day in a 1 month or 2 month time that they used to visit Puttaparthi, sit with the family in the sands in front of Mandir and sit for long hours talking about all family matters. Uh, and my mother, from her, was very staunch and strong in her devotion, and would always, during my childhood times, during the school times until from the 5th to 10th, particularly, I remember she used to constantly only pray that we get an admission in Swami schools, and she got us joined in the Balvikas and later pre-Sevadal as well. I, not knowing much about Swami, would be in my own, world. Um, so she used to prod me and prompt me and push me to go for classes and pre-Sevadal and Balvikas classes, and that's basically for her, reason that I used to attend. Um, I remember some wonderful experiences from those times, which I hope to share. It was one experience that comes to my mind is how I did my first visit to Puttaparthi during one of the pre-Sevadal conferences. My mother had informed me that there's going to be a pre-Sevadal meet at Puttaparthi, and she wanted me to go. I was not interested, and she kept reminding me and to uh, give my name, put my name in the list for the meeting, which I was not interested in. For some reason, few days before the actual group started for Parthi, I did consent on mother's pleading and pushing. And since they weren't, things were all booked. There wasn't a seat available for me, and I was told that there's one cancellation, and the person's name is, as I remember, Ravi or somebody, and I had to go on his name because everything was booked on his name. So I was even told that I would need to mention that name as my name, pretty much. And then, so I remember this little thing that happened in Parthi. In the institute, Swami was giving away the cards and badges for the pre-Sevadal group members. And he had, there was an announcement in the institute's auditorium when in Swami's presence. For some reason, as I said, his ways are very bizarre. People whose names start with S might first come and then take the badges from Swami's hand. So that was the announcement. And I had friends who knew me, my name, all of them nudging me to go ahead and get the badge because my name was Shivkumar. Shiva is the name. While I said, you know, my name is actually Ravi. I'm told I should be declaring it as Ravi, or I should not be going. So it is a bit of a confusion for me, but I kind of finally had to hold myself back, not go, because I was told to assume the name of Ravi just for the roles and the listing. So I felt a bit bad also that I had to miss this opportunity, and this was a little punishment from Swami's side that was coming with a reason. So that triggered me off that day actually, and later a couple of days during that time there was a Punya Chandra session where we were all seated. So by then, these couple of days, I had become alert that there's something uh, mysterious, something great about this place that I should be alert, and I might miss opportunities like this. So I was seated there in Purnachandra Auditorium, and I noticed people writing some things in their diaries or in a piece of papers or a letter kind of thing, and then keeping it prepared. So I asked him what is going on, and I was told that he could give slips or letters to Swami. That time, since I was already charged a little bit about the entire things that were going on and talks and things like that, and the incident that happened, so I just thought for a moment as to what is my mother's wish. She is the one who prompted me to come here. What would be my mother's wish? What can I write? I mean, what do people write? I wondered what they wrote in those letters. I said, I should write something, and then I said in a small piece of paper, Swami, I would like to be in your schools and get an admission in your institution. I wrote something of that kind, and Swami took that letter. He received it, and I was glad. So that was a major trigger which I can't forget during my pre-school and university times, institute time. Now, after this, I was now in the school. In the school and in the college times, I would like to relate some other things that have happened. And after that, the journey continues with Sai. Actually, it's not just school and college. The classroom of Swami continued from the time when I was in Swami's institution. The classroom continues until now, until today, every day. Actually, it is a classroom we are admitted in. We are all of us are students. Actually, this is something which is a thought which everybody definitely would agree. When Swami says, in his discourses, "Dear students," and he's addressing the entire August audience in Puttaparthi, people from 9 to 90 are there in the audience. All of us are students there. So the entire universe is his classroom. So Swami saying, dear students in a discourse meant all of us actually, not just students there. So the classroom continues. So I would like to arrange the sharing that I have in a particular way to say this that all of us are in a classroom. So to begin with, I'll want to say this thing that there are a bunch of learning. This is endless. It could be compressed into Satya Dharma Shanti Prema if you like, but you could have learnings like for a student, the learnings are what is it that Swami is pleased about? What is it that makes us eligible, to get God's grace? Swami himself elucidates and lists those things. It could be anything from you should be purity, you should be punctual. Purity, you see the students having, or all of us who go to Parthi wear a white external garment. So it's not just external. Swami would go at the first level. The first new devotee or a student would think, okay, we got to wear white dress. That's mandatory, kind of. But as we sit through his discourses, we realize that that's only the start. The external purity is just the start, and the actual thing that he expects is internal, not just external. So he takes us through various levels. So one is about what the learnings are, what he expects us, what he is trying to guide us to into to get his grace in full. And then the learnings are, we also want to learn what is God, because we come with different imaginations of what is God, different ideas of what is God. He tells us that God is actually all powerful. He's actually omnipresent. So all these learnings we hear from Swami in his discourses, as we know, we've heard his discourses, we've heard his sharing. In our times, in the college and school times, and after, we realize that our journey with Swami, he gives us those kind of experiences where he provides complete, unequivocal proofs of his omnipresence, of his omnipotence, of the fact that we got to be pure, internal and external. When you see Swami, every day he comes out for darshan, you look at him, it is like perfection actually, in the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you look. When you talk of compassion, for example, as a virtue, his looks, his speech, everything is suffused actually, overflowing with compassion. So when, as a student, we watch him at close quarters and we listen to his discourses, we see that there's a complete translation of what is said in the discourses of what God is in physical form, actually. So that itself is enough for us to completely get confirmation that what is said is not just, just said for the sake of saying as description of God. It is practically shown in Bhakti. And experiences, when we talk about experiences, we could experience Swami in a very physical sense or in a very subtle sense. So when I said, when Swami describes himself as Chitrambulu, Pavitrambulu, Trailokya Pavitrambulu, and that kind of thing, which means he's like Chitrambulu means he's like a Chitra. He's like picture perfect in whatever he is physically and in a subtle sense. And Vichitrambulu means bizarre, weird actually. And you would see the chancellor of the university would spend hours together with all the students standing there every day, talking about very simple things. So as I said, coming back to listing those experiences, I would start with one which was in the school time. It was Professor Sanjay Sahani. I think right now he is the registrar or the ward right now. He was a student at that time. Sanjay Sahani in the portico, in the veranda in Patti, and his younger brother around in the crowd. And I was seated as a school student there. Swami asking Sanjay Sahani's younger brother, with his name. It was the exam, marks time. He looked at him and then said, what is your marks? What is the grade? So he was like all prayerful, but not really expressing his, marks, answering the question, was hesitant. And then as Swami saw him sternly, and then he turned around a little bit this side and said, Sanjay Sahani, what is your marks? He didn't respond as well. He would just hold his hand and then, Swami knew everything. So at the first instance, you'd have to think before answering it. And then Swami immediately, turned away, and then he said something like, to his younger brother who didn't score very well probably. He said, marks to everybody. Marks రాకపోతే పర్వాలేదు, remarks రాకుండా చూసుకోవాలి. That was one thunderbolt for me. So the meaning, what Swami said in Telugu was, if you don't get marks, there's no problem. You don't get marks, there's no problem. See to it that you don't get remarks. See to it that you don't get remarks. So that was like a revelation, a complete, opposite. Which I was like, I was all tense. Would Swami ask me marks? Would my marks? This is the usual worry. University and a college, that's the first worry for students. So that was, this is something which we hear in discourses in a very different way, in a different scale. Swami would say, externals are not important, internal is important, right? We hear all this very often. He says Swami is not Bahya Priya, he is Bhava Priya, Swami says. Means he is not going to be concerned particularly about the external, as to, he says, how many, annadanams you have done, or how many saris or dhotis you have given on as a service gift or something. You would be more interested in what feeling with which you have done. So this was for school students, but at a later stage, when we hear his discourses, these are two very same things, two differently expressed ones, but very same thing. So that particular experience on that day was a formatting of my hard drive and starting all afresh. My focus was entirely about how you could do something easily to please Swami, to remain, well dressed, clean, speak softly, or whatever you could do very easily, and not those very complex and very tough things that we study in school and college. So that was very easy for me, and that was a starting point. And when you would take care of what Swami wanted from us, he would take care of our marks. That was the end for me as well. I was more concerned about Swami, what Swami expected from us, and marks came very easily for me. So that was my little, but very profound experience that day. So the other couple of things that happened, there are many things that happened in Puttaparthi and Vrindavan. Eventually, when I studied, I had to list them down because this is probably the first one where I have had experience, opportunities which Swami had given earlier as well, where I've done sharing. But I thought this time I'll list them down and kind of document them. And I've just started making that list. So there's another point which we all think about when we think about Swami. What is his expectation with regards religious beliefs, and is Swami more talking about when we go to Western countries, where I've been earlier in the UK and New Zealand as part of my work and experience. So people who are new to the fold might wonder sometimes as to what is Swami's expectation, what is Swami's teaching in this context. And we hear them in discourses. Swami says there's only one religion. The theme of our group as well, Satyam group, there's only one language. That's the language of love. So profound, actually, so very profound. The college and school have got students from all around the country and overseas, and that particular statement or teaching of Swami bound us together, like with so much of love and so much of affection for each other, right from the day one. And so verbally saying there's only one religion, and one language is one thing. When you see something very profoundly happening there, that really gives you the confirmation of all what Swami talks about. So this was one day when I was sitting in the portico, in the veranda there, and there was a small contingent of a particular religious and political outfit. This was probably in 86 or 88 um, that had arrived there, and the senior members of that political and religious party were there to take Swami's blessings, and I was witness to that happening. This is probably the first time I'm recounting this. And as Swami's doors of the interview room opened, Swami comes out, and then the leaders there uh, got up, and then one of them said, "Swami, uh, we'll have to build the Ram Mandir." Was the prayer, and then I was watching that, and I was pretty close, and then Swami saying, "Oh, Ram Mandir, yes, yes, yes," he said. Yes, 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 he said, very, very smilingly, very sweetly. Yes, 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 he said, and then said, "Ram Mandir, first we'll have to build the Ram Mandir there," pointing at the chest, the heart. He said, "We build the Ram Mandir there, and then the Ram Mandir will be built," he said. so, so that was a very, very profound message, very, very profound message, and that again had a huge impact on me, and it still has. That what is the expectation of Swami? We all, when I in a daily life, we all think about, making our altar nice, and going to visit temples. Should we go to Kashi? Should we miss? We have never been to Badrinath, and all this kind of thing. So one of the most important things is Swami, whatever he's talking about in discourses, or whatever he's told us in the various forms, he the actual uh, expectation is exactly what he says. There's no deviation from what he's talking about. There's deviation in our expression sometimes, but his expression is absolutely precise. What he expects and what he wants. And he said this in many ways. He says, "Don't build temples for me. Uh, my temple is your heart." So that was my real live example for me, which had a very, very profound, impact on me. Um, the Dashara time was another spectacular time. So the thing is that I imagine Swami's, experiences and teachings are both physically spectacular and physically very subtle. So if we are in a very physical world, there would be experiences and expressions and experiences we can hear from various devotees. In a very physical level, we can read books from Walter Cohen, or various authors. Very spectacular experience. And sometimes we feel that, oh, we have not had spectacular near-death experience like that. And then there are subtle experiences, very, very subtle experiences. The actual thing is, to me, the subtle ones are the most profound for me. This is an experience that somebody would have experienced, some student, very, very young student would have experienced. It would seem very, very subtle, like the one which I mentioned, where Swami says, "I'm not concerned about marks. I'm more concerned about remarks, that you don't get remarks." So these are very subtle ones. It's just willy-nilly walking. Swami, says this and walks away. But this is very, very profound. If you expand this, it comes to the point of Swami talking about the same Vedic dictum where it says, "Bhashyam is not important, bhavam is more important." So it is the same thing. So this is another one where during the Dashara times, in those times we didn't have all this big stadium and the Hanuman statue and all. This is 86, 88, and the stadium grounds were very, very big. One side the school, and the other side the mountain, hillock. And Swami, during the time when the Hanuman statue was being built and all, would be very regularly coming to the grounds, and we would, whenever we were free, we would run to meet Swami there, and we would be people, the architects or the engineers building it and all. So that is one thing. And one experience was during the Dashera times. It was quite overwhelming to see uh, thousands and thousands of people. Swami had got them there in trucks which would go to villages and get the villagers here. And Swami would himself start serving first the Narayan Siva. Swami would, that time he was around 65 or 70, would be like something like 15 or 20. The speed at which he would serve, the way in which he would talk, it's very difficult to imagine that he was 65. And then Swami would serve, and you could see the complete focus Swami had, complete love, complete involvement in the activity that he would be participating with us. We would be holding the vessels, and Swami would pick it up the sweet rice that was there. So there would be a lot of people. So we would all be engrossed in seeing Swami for a minute. But he would be very, very particular that he would mingle with us and do the service. It's very, very overwhelming to see when he talks about Manav Seva in the discourse is one thing. The student group and the Seva group serving the devotees, they were serving the village devotees who had come there, and saris and dhotis used to be piled up in trucks, handing out the saris and dhotis and the prasadams. So that was overwhelming. So for everything that he spoke in the discourses, there would be a practical demonstration of it in daily life. Swami would have. So in the interest of time, I would go over to one more experience in Vrindavan and close for the day. In Parthi. So this was the 12th class time when we were in the 12th class. During the 12th class, we were doing the board exams, as you know. It was a practice that we would ask Swami. This was an excuse to ask Swami. Some of us would be going further to do medicine or engineering. So it was a practice Swami encouraged to ask for Pada Namaskarams, and in those times, it used to be a practice to ask Swami for interviews, personal interviews for a blessing. So this was our chance, and that day we asked Swami. We were asking Swami for some time already, asking Swami for an interview. Swami interview. We would kind of crowd together and then try to teach Swami. And we had very good plans before every darshan, that we would have to do this in keeping with the laws of the laws and the rules that Swami would like, that we should be. There's going to be no compromise on any of these 5 Ds: discipline, devotion, discrimination, nothing. At the same time, we should be very sincere in asking Swami to give us an interview. So somehow Swami acceded, and he accepted the pleading, and that day we were told to go into the interview room. This was one of those spectacular type of experiences that I would say we saw. It's something which is going to be in my mind forever. Swami was in the interview room, and we were packed inside the interview room. There were well over 50 in the little room. And Swami said, so you all think Swami has got a hole here, right? Swami has got a hole here through which things come out. The materialization come out. He said, yes, there is a hole, actually. He said, there is a hole. The hole is not here, it is here in you. The hole is in you here, he said. And then what he did was, he pulled his sleeve until the arm. Okay? He pulled the sleeve to full, and then he was he had a very long session, well over an hour. He was relating a story of King Janaka and the Maharishi who bestowed on him the self-realization gift. So that was the story, as you may have heard the story. To shorten the entire happening, so he pulled his sleeve during the story, and he said, actually, so this Janaka had been gifted this ring by his father-in-law during the marriage, and as he was relating the story, pulled up his sleeve, and then he materialized that ring. That was a crystal clear, diamond, colorless diamond. Colorless diamond there, massive one with the ring. He materializes the ring, and then holding in his hand, we still have a photo. I'll have to bring it out sometime. Holding the ring, says he materialized. So Janaka pleaded to the Maharishi, saying that Maharishi had asked Janaka to come. Since the Janaka Maharaja pleaded to Maharishi, saying that I would like to get self-realization, be blessed with self-realization, and I'm ready to do anything that the Maharishi had asked him to. The Maharishi said, okay, are you ready to do anything that I have to, ask you to? So then the Maharishi had asked Janaka Maharaja to follow him. So Maharaja followed Janaka Maharaja followed the Maharishi, and the Maharishi reaches the crossroads of the kingdom, the city there, Mithila city, and Maharishi asked Janaka Maharaja to be seated at the center of the crossroad, busy crossroad. And then Maharishi says, please give me all your ornaments first, whatever you have. Remove all your gold and diamonds, give it to me. So Maharaja had removed all his jewels and then crown and everything, and then placed it aside to Maharishi, and then said he had kept only one ring with him, which is that green ring. And then King Janaka had removed that ring, very prayerfully pleading the Maharishi, saying that can I just retain this one ring? This is my wedding ring that was gifted by my father-in-law. And then Maharishi says, why that? Why even that? Give it to me. I'll keep it carefully with me. Give it to me. That's when Swami materializes after pulling up his sleeve fully that ring, and then holding it in his hand. Says, this is that ring. So we were all seated there, and then as usual, the way we talk to Swami is as if he's our own parent. Swami, can we see that ring? Can we see that ring? Everybody was like, can you see that ring? So Swami agrees, he passes it on to us. We're all just examining the ring as Swami continues the story. Each one of us wearing it and examining the ring. And then, so I remember seeing the ring. I still clearly remember the ring, how it used to look, the design of the ring and the massive diamond on top. And then when Swami proceeded with the story, there was a position in the story where the Maharishi returns after many days. Janaka Maharaja being seated there, and the ministers were worried, the queen was worried. They had all gone back to the Maharishi, who had, gone back to his forest and got him back. The Maharishi was very pleased, obviously, and then said, Maharaja, get up from your position. I'm very pleased indeed. So Janaka Maharaja gets up, and then holding the ring, the Maharishi says, so this is your ring, is it? I'm very pleased with your devotion. And then Swami says, the Maharishi blows on the ring, and the ring turns green. So the colorless diamond turns green. Okay. So as the Maharishi blows, Swami also blows on the ring. After asking for it, it was going the rounds. So he holds the ring and then blows. Swami blows the ring, and the ring, which is colorless, right in front of our eyes, turns green. Okay, that ring again went around, being examined by the students there. Swami was like, so this was one which was spectacular for that age group, probably for everyone. How he would do spectacular things. Similarly, being part of Vedam group, I used to witness spectacular things sitting on the stage on one side. Vedam group had this singular great good fortune that Swami would allow the Vedam group to receive him from the mandir, and when we would come to the stage, Swami, after occupying the center stage, we would be seated on the stage on one side, chanting our chants as the yajna during the Veda Purush Saptah Mahayajna used to happen during the Dashara time. So you'd be on the stage every day on those nine days. We would be seated on one side, witnessing very great things. Swami would materialize and then leave it into the yajna fire. So Swami's, if fast forwarding now when I think about some of these things, the ones which have really profound impact on me are the ones which are very subtle things. Like what he did one day was, what with this I will close. One of the things that Swami says is that, one of the first dramas that Swami scripted is Cheppinattu Chestara. Means, do you do what you say? Is the first drama he scripted. So this particular thing that Swami has said, do we do what we say? Swami says this is truth. This is the most important of all virtues. Fast forwarding to now, when I talk to my son, the first thing that comes to my mind when I say something to him as an advice to keep his books clean or his desk clean or his pencil sharpened or his pens and his books clean is whether I do it. So as you see, the most subtle things which have most profound impacts are not those materializations. For me at least, it is those subtle things that Swami showed us, both verbally, he spoke to us, and showed us in real during our times as a student, and we continue to be today. As we hear his discourses, the various things that he says are the ones which are having, I think, the most impact on us. So with this, I close, and I pray to Swami that he blesses all of us with his grace, all our families with lots of love, lots of happiness and good health. Sai Ram.